EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Monday nightcap edition of Birds 365, following day number 9 of the Philadelphia Eagles training camp on the football field. A little evening edition of the show for you right now. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. John, you're looking like you got a little color today, my man. I don't know if that's just the lighting or what, but you're looking good, my friend. How you feeling on this Monday evening?
Yeah, it was a hot one today, so probably a little bit of both, but yeah, it was.
I'm realizing, John, it's because I haven't seen you in a couple days. I've been off phone for the last couple of days. I haven't seen you since Thursday.
Yeah, well, we had a nice little stretch. We had the awful, obviously, where it was 110. Right. I don't know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
Then we had a nice day where it was like 70. It was the best day ever. And that was back up in the high 80s. So it was pretty hot today. But Eagles had a fully padded practice. And, their 2 fully padded practices have been really, really hot. So, silver lining to that is maybe you're better prepared for Tampa in September. So who knows? But yeah, a lot of competitive periods today. A little live action. Always the third team, which always rubs me the wrong way. By the way, Nick Sirianni's never gone live with first or second team players. It's always the third teamers. I feel like that's, I don't know. I feel like something untoward about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Interesting stuff there. John, today was Vic Fangio day, though, man. What did you make of what Vic Fangio had to say today? Anything big you took away, John, from what Vic had to say pre-practice today?
Yeah, typical Vic. There's a host of things in there. I think the theme was throughout, and he kind of started that with us last time he talked to us when he was talking about the young players, and he was mentioning a bunch of them, and they have to eliminate their negative plays. He kept saying over and over, and again he points out that that often is not where your eye is, and the fact that people are going to be naturally drawn to splash plays, big plays, interceptions, sacks, yada yada yada. He's looking at are they doing their job on the back end of those plays? Are they doing their job on plays that just end up in 3-4 yard, whatever? So a lot of that is where the evaluation comes into it. And he mentioned that over and over again with all the young players, whether it's Sidney Brown or Tristan McCullum or Kaylee Ringo, on and on and on and on. Every single one of them. He mentioned that about. So to me, it was clearly a theme of getting those guys more consistent to where they're not up and down from play to play.
Makes sense. That's going to be a big task, John, with this defense coming in. I did think he had some interesting comments about, just going to the main things we've talked about a little bit, but the Ringo and the Dory. I thought it was notable. He said that's close. That's neck and neck. I think that's better than the alternative of if you hear a Dory Jackson's running away with it, probably not a good sign for Ringo. So those guys still neck and neck. Good comment there from Vic. At least I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Vic values the preseason games more than most coaches, I would say. So he when it comes to this competition in these positions, he's going to want to see guys in some live reps because trying to find his answer on that. But as I do it, I'll keep talking. But he basically in practice, you're not live, and for those little points of emphasis, and until the third team, and even that, you think about the play of the day today was one of those live reps between the third team, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson threw a long touchdown pass to undrafted rookie Giles Jackson, who's been pretty impressive, by the way. Giles
seems
Jackson.
Like DTR's having a pretty good camp too.
Yeah, he's up and down. But in that particular play, he probably would have gotten sacked in a game. I mean, you always have those plays in practice. We're all sitting there going, the fans are there. Fans are allowed in. They get fired up, and we're looking at the back. I mean, there's no way he's getting that off in a regular game. So that's the kind of stuff Vic is talking about when he says he wants to see guys in live reps and see if they can finish tackles. He said, I don't know if they can tackle. I don't know if they're going to finish the tackle, finish the sack, do anything of that nature. His old mindset, and he says it even more so when it comes to 7-on-7s, and that's not football, and OTAs, and it's not football because you're not tackling. So, I mean, there was one play they were doing a what they call a no mostra, which is when they try to close out games with those long drives. And there was a handoff to Barkley, and he cut back, and they blew the whistle. And there's not a million. It was Azeez Ojulari. There's not a chance in the world that he's making an arm tackle when Saquon Barkley's cutting back. I mean, he just would have broke outside for 10, 15 yards, but they blew the whistle. That's the kind of stuff you don't get in practice.
Right.
And you're only going to get in games. And Vic values that. I would say it's an old school guy more than, and not that the Eagles coach is Nick Sirianni, not that they don't value it, but the organization as a whole, I constantly explain is their cost benefit analysis is, all right, we can't prepare like the way we used to years ago. So let's get to week 1 as healthy as possible. That's what it's about. Not that they don't want to do it, but you're collectively bargained not to do it to a large extent. And it's hard to envision. And that's what I've always said about Jalen Hurts. It has never really been a great practice player until this year. And one of the reasons why is because you don't get to see what he does
Right.
when he extends plays, because they're just blowing him dead all the time. So Vic was talking about that when it came to the preseason game and getting a look at guys in live reps.
When you mentioned that thing in the open, John, about the live reps and just, you don't see Sirianni do it with the first. What's your speculation on that? Like I don't know. It seemed like you had
Doesn't
something.
want to get anyone hurt. No, they're like crash test dummies. Those poor guys.
Right.
They don't care about getting them hurt. I've said it numerous times. It's untoward to me.
I just wanted to make sure that's what you meant. I didn't know if you meant something was nefarious, something going on with the first team. I don't know. I didn't know.
They wanted those guys hurt, and they don't care about the third team guys, which I think is untoward. If you're going to do it for everybody.
Risk, I guess, fracturing, some part of the locker room if some of those guys take that personally. Is that what you're kind of insinuating potentially?
No, I'm not, because none of them take it personally. I'm just saying from my perspective.
Yeah, but in a work environment, you know how people. I mean,
they're young players who know that, they have to open the coach's eyes, and they're not going to make the team. And if they are going to make the team, it's going to be on the practice squad. So you're really. And this is like the league as a whole, not just the Eagles. You're really taking advantage of those guys. And you say the same thing when in the preseason games when you don't play your starters and your key backups, and you only play these guys because they're not going to be there.
Right. Exactly.
To me, it's untoward, but obviously nobody else cares about it. But to me, it's untoward.
Yeah, like you said, they got to get themselves out there on the field. So I guess nobody can care about it that much, because what's the alternative? Then they'll have no shot, I guess. I don't know. John, an hour and 45-minute practice today. You just kind of gave some of the things that stuck out to you, but anything from the first team, anything from first team offense, first team defense that stuck out today at practice day number 9?
Yeah, they did a lot of backed up work where the offense is coming off the goal line, 1-2 yard line, and they made it competitive where if they got 4 yards or more, it was a win for the offense. If they got 4 yards or less. At less than 4 yards, it was a win for the defense. So the offense had ended up winning 4-3. So it was really close, really competitive. Saquon talked about that afterward. That's when he was asked what he likes most about how the Eagles practice. It's setting up these little competitions, offense versus defense. So that goes over well, especially when guys make plays. So that was very close. They did a lot. I mentioned the no moss drills, which they've been very good at since Nick has gotten here. So many long drives, and that's why they practice that type of thing. Keep the clock moving in the fourth quarter. So that defines Nick Sirianni's coaching more than anything else. The Eagles are so situationally oriented in practice. Everything is a situation almost. Whereas, I've been to plenty of other teams' practices. They don't quite do it that way. And I think that's an advantage for the Eagles.
Yeah, good stuff there. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll get into all the details and kind of break down each thing as we go. John, one more update here at the start of the show. We talked about Vic talking today, some of your key takeaways from the first team. What about the injuries, John? A.J. Brown missed again today. We're kind of keeping track on where we are on those. What changed or didn't change in the injury front today for those wondering?
Brought Byron Young got kind of banged up. What day are we? Monday.
Monday.
It was Sunday. So he got banged up. I saw he left practice. Well, actually, the official I mentioned that forced him to go off the field, and he was able to come back in and finish Sunday's practice, but so evidently strained his groin. He was the only one new added who didn't practice. The other guys, Zach Ball, A.J. Brown, Lewis Seen, Montreal Johnson, Trevor Keegan, Terrace Marshall, they had already been out at least on that Sunday practice, so they weren't new. Charlie Hewlett's dealing with the neck. That's why they signed the long snapper. I think I mentioned that yesterday. That's just to get through the next couple days and perhaps the preseason game. Mac McWilliams was back, which was a good sign because he's got a quad injury, as I mentioned, but he was limited. So the guys who were limited, Mac McWilliams, Andrew Makuba, Nolan Smith, and Ben Van Sumeren. Nolan was the only one who worked in team drills, so that was positive to get him back. And it was interesting because it's the first time in a while he's been back in team drills. So he was at his spot. And Josh Uche was at right end ahead of Jalix Hunt. Now, there's a lot of mixing and matching. Jalix got plenty of first-team reps.
Right.
But that
Vic kind of talked about that today, right, where he wants everybody to be comfortable with everybody, basically.
Yeah, but that was the first time that Josh got a first-team rep on the right side. He'd gotten some on the left side because Nolan was out. But that was the first time he got some first-team reps on the right side. And Vic mentioned him playing well, which I was a little surprised by because he seemed to get less reps the prior couple days than Azeez Ojulari. But he really had a good practice. I mentioned the big sack he had on Kendall Lamb.
Having a good camp, seems like Josh Uche.
Yeah, I know. Well, he had a good day, and I think it was rewarded.
Well, I mean, I don't think you play yourself into that rep, do you, without more than one good day? Vic doesn't seem like the kind of guy, you're having a good day. I thought you had a first team,
Well, the two practices before, 2 or 3 before that, like when Nolan first went down, he was he came in and was the starting left end. And then all of a sudden they moved Jalix from right end to left end. And then they bumped up Ojulari on the left side. And it looked like he was taking a step back. And then he had the big practice on Sunday, and all of a sudden he's getting first team reps on the right side. So clearly he's mixing and matching. But if you would have asked me that, I would have said, he's trending negative. Now he's back up. So that's why you shouldn't get too worked up with reps, because Vic's going to get everybody involved, at least guys who have a chance. But, you also have to, not a positive for Jalix, who has taken pretty significant step back since the first couple of days of camp when everybody was raving at him. And they did some one-on-ones today, and he got stoned by Jordan again. So, that's a process. And I've said, I think people are skipping steps, but if Josh Uche steps up or Ojulari steps up, maybe you go about it a different way. At least you have options. But it was interesting to see him on the right side for the first time. And again, I would say Hunt still had more first team reps throughout the entire practice. So against that first rep watching, which is not always indicative.
I don't expect any world where Uche is your legitimate starter, but I guess the crazier things have happened.
Oh, I wouldn't be shocked if any of them won it, to be honest.
Even over Jalix, I feel like it's got to be J. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Jalix.
I wouldn't be shocked if any of the three won it. Wouldn't shock me at all.
Well, John, one of my bold predictions coming into the year we did this summer was Josh Uche will be the best bargain signing, the best Temu signing that we talked about. So, hey, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out as it continues to develop. John, good stuff there. I'd like to hear that some other players are stepping up, or at least getting some more opportunities in practice right now. Before we dive into some of the things you wrote on SI.com from the practice today, John, how did quarterback one, Jalen Hurts, look? Everybody always wants an update on QB1, J-Mac.
Yeah, well, like I said, a lot of backed up stuff. So they were, starting inside their own 5 for a great majority of the team drills. And then a lot of the drills were those no moss things where you're trying to run out the game. So a lot of underneath stuff, a lot of running game. So nothing splashy. But that's what they were practicing. You're not going to throw a lot of go routes on when you're backed up at the 2-yard line. You might do it occasionally, but not consistently. And you're trying to practice, getting out of that situation. And the same thing, obviously, when the Eagles are trying to close out games, it's going to be run game heavy, and it was. So, just a slow and steady day, but a lot of it had to do with what they were practicing.
Yeah, good stuff there, John, for Jalen Hurts. We'll continue to follow along, continue to get the updates through him. John, one of the first things you wrote in your article stuck out to me, as always, but Quinyon Mitchell, man, continues to make good plays. You wrote the most intense matchup of the day was between receiver Devontae Smith and cornerback Quinyon Mitchell, who had a nice back and forth throughout the session. Bring us inside, John. Tell us about that battle. Those are two good players, man.
Yeah, they are, and I think everybody knows it with AJ and Devontae. I think they're hopeful that Quinyon can turn into that type of player. He's had a tremendous summer. He looks like he belongs with those guys. He's got tremendous confidence. They're obviously preparing to travel him this year, which is something they haven't done that much in the past. So it tells you how much they think of him. We'll see how much. Christian Parker was talking today, explained. I was surprised how much he said about it, which is basically, dependent. If you're a guy who moves in the slot, what he was explaining. So the guys who do that, the CD Lambs, the Tyreek Hills, the Justin Jeffersons, you're not going to travel with those guys, because if you start at left corner or start at right corner, you're not going to move to the slot. So it's basically more stagnant offenses that have a true X and a true Z. And, when that happens, he'll probably travel. And that's what the Eagles have been doing in camp. If AJ moves, they'll travel him. If Devontae moves, they'll travel him, depending who he's matched up with. When AJ it's always AJ when he's healthy. When he went out, Devontae came back and it became Devontae. But yeah, it was great to see those two. Devontae probably won a little bit more, but he's the veteran guy. He's so smart. He's so savvy.
Yeah. And
But
the route running, the way Devontae runs routes is incredible too.
Yeah. So, but he holds up well and he makes it difficult. And that's what you want, because you're going to get beat as a corner.
Yeah.
I mean, but the goal is, I always make the NBA comparison against great scorer. The goal is that they're going to get theirs. Great scorers are going to get theirs, but the goal is to make them work for it and make it tougher for them. So, if they're going to score 30, make them take 25 shots to get there. And that's what Quignon's doing right now.
Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Quignon, remember the conversation we had a year ago, which I don't think was off base, but, it was tough to call Quignon, for lack of a better word, a lockdown corner, because he wasn't playing press cover corner. He wasn't, he was a zone corner. And I get that. That has limitations on it. But if Quignon's able to travel a little bit more this year and do it successfully, you think that would put him in the conversation with some of the best corners in football? And I mean, do it very successfully. I'm not talking about, oh, he has a good year. I'm talking about do it very successfully. Do you think that would catapult him into that top corner convo, or still not enough on his plate? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it depends how you define it. I mean, he's not, because he's traveling, he's still going to be in the same coverages. And he's not going to, I mean, Vic doesn't play a ton of that. So again, it's a lot of zone, but man match zone, where in your zone you're incessantly in man coverage. So that part of it's not going to change. They're just going to want him to shadow the best receiver, partially because they don't have as much confidence in the other corner, to be honest. Last year with Slay and Mitchell, they had confidence in both of them, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of, a lot of people don't understand schemes in football and what they're doing and what they're trying to accomplish. But no, it's not like traveling means he's going to play man coverage on Jamar Chase, if they're playing Cincinnati, which they are on Thursday, but obviously Jamar's not going to play. But you get the point. Quignon's probably not going to play either. But yeah, so he's already a good corner. But the fact that whatever people's definition of lockdown is, typically it's press cover corners. The Eagles don't do a lot of press cover corner. That's just the way it is.
I think he came down today on the top 100 list, John, at 49, was it, everybody? Who saw it today? I'm sure he was. Yeah, I think it was 49. 49.
Still doing list?
Huh?
What list is this?
It was the top 100 players that the NFL puts out. I guess they do that. Do they do that through the players? I know it's kind of a joke. Everybody says the players just like right in.
No, that's the NFL Network one, through the players.
I don't know. I thought I saw, because they did like an interview of Cooper DeJean for it in the NFL top 100.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many lists. I can't keep up with them.
I know. I think this was a little bit more. He was 49. Yeah, he was. I think this one was a little bit more. I don't know. The NFL puts it up. It wasn't like some random dude. You know what I mean? It was like
no. I know they put it out, but
yeah,
I can't get them.
Yeah, the NFL Films top 100 players of 2025. Yeah, that's what it was. So,
yeah, he's a good player. But low concern. Anytime you have a rookie, you worry about a little bit of a sophomore slump for guys who, and he had a good camp last year, but he's having a great camp this year. Great camp. And he part of it is understandable. He's just learned. And I think people forget he played a lot of nickel last year to start. Before they moved him outside, to the point.
Yeah, I remember that in camp. Absolutely.
To the point I was saying, I didn't understand what they were doing, because obviously they drafted him to be an outside corner. And I'm like, just put him outside. And ultimately they did, but it worked out, to say the least. But yeah, he's having a better summer this year than he had last year. No
Yeah,
question.
yep, good stuff there for Quinyon Mitchell. One other thing you wrote about him, Johnny, did have an interception against the second team offense, Tanner McKee. Oh, was it a duck? Sounded like, by the way you wrote it, sounded like it was a Tanner McKee duck.
Yeah, I couldn't even figure out what they were trying to do. I mean, Tanner was moving to his right. It was his worst throw of camp, I would say.
He's not a move to the right and throw kind of guy.
Well, sometimes you have to, but I don't know if Anaya Smith ran a bad route or he slipped or something. I don't know, but essentially he just threw it right to Quinyon. So it's notable, but that was an easy one for him. So, and yeah, the Eagles generally run one period where it's the first team offense against the second team defense, the second team offense versus the first team defense. That was obviously second team offense versus first team defense. And it's the easiest pick Quinyon's going to get this year because it was right to him.
Quinyon, let's see if he can remember how many times last year did Quinyon Mitchell have a chance to make a pick? He just couldn't corral it. Hopefully he corrects him back this year because he could be a lot of interception type player if he could just corral some of those. Seems to be in the right spot a lot.
Yeah, he had a chance for a bunch in the regular season, finally broke through the postseason. He had two, but he didn't get one in the regular season. He had plenty of chances. And, he was getting a lot of shit from Slay specifically about, catching the ball when he's in position to catch the ball. Good-natured before everybody gets upset, And Cooper was talking about that today. They would give him some good-natured ribbon about the lack of ball skills, but he's getting better, man. Yeah, that's a scary proposition.
Yeah. See if he can get better with the ball skills. Cooper DeJean, good stuff there. John, you mentioned Nolan Smith returned to the team drills today. Well, how'd he look?
It was fine. I mean, his first day back in team drills, he, which is a positive because, they look really, really bad without him. Nothing noticeable, but they need him out there. It's actually his best play was probably in coverage, dropping into coverage, which we were talking about that on this morning show. He's good at. He's one of the guys who don't look, because most edge rushers that drop look like fish out of water, as I said. He doesn't. Neither does Jalix, too. That's why I think Vic likes them both. And they both have a history. In Jalix's case, he was a safety at Cornell, and Nolan played a lot of all-ball linebacker at Georgia, so he's more comfortable doing it than the other guys for the most part. So he looked good there, but he's fine. The only question on Nolan Smith to me is, can he stay healthy? And so you can make an argument he's not healthy right now, not only because of the concussion, but the triceps from the Super Bowl. So that to me is the biggest question about Nolan Smith. But he can play.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of how good. But I'm not. When I say edge defender, I'm basically worried about everybody but Nolan Smith.
Yeah, we'll see how that position continues to take shape through training camp. We have the game coming up Thursday night, first preseason game, 7:30 p.m. against the Cincinnati Bengals. That'll be Thursday night. So, John, what do they have? A walkthrough, I would assume, on Wednesday. And then, so you'll have no media availability Wednesday and Thursday, I would assume. Is that how the week will go?
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, we have plenty after the game, but yeah, game week. So Wednesday walkthrough, Thursday game, Thursday night, Friday.
Tomorrow, same schedule though, right? We'll be tomorrow night for the show tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow they're practicing, so that'll be the last practice of the week before the game. Then they'll do the walkthrough. So that's like a Saturday on a Sunday game. And then you have the game and players day off after as well. So We'll be back in the morning, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, so good.
This week.
We'll close out the week strong with morning shows Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. John, I'm going to get into I'm happy about this because somebody commented, and I realized you're right, we haven't discussed it much, but somebody commented today, hey, I haven't heard anything about Jake Elliott, Braden Mann, or any of the specialists, on the team. So you wrote about him a little bit today, Jake Elliott and Braden Mann. What are we seeing from those guys, not only today, but all through training camp? Any reason to be concerned, John? I think Jake had one of his worst seasons ever last season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons Rick Lovato isn't here, because they had some issues with snapping the football, and that's why they moved on from Rick, who was a great long snapper for a long time, but things move quickly in the NFL. He was the Eagles' long snapper for all three of the Super Bowl runs and won the 2 Super Bowls. So, Charlie Hewlett is here. He got hurt. So they brought in Christian Johnstone. That's short term. We'll see how long Charlie, he's out there limited. He's doing some stuff, but dealing with some kind of neck issue at his age. Maybe he slept wrong. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, it literally could be as simple as that.
But yeah, I mean, Jake, he was also dealing with something that he won't admit, something with his leg. So he was like 18 of 21, I think, over the past couple seasons before last season, and kicks over 50 yards. He was insane. And last year he was 1 of 9, I think. And I'm doing this off the top of my head. So, yeah, he had a bad season. So it was part holding, part dealing with something. I think he'll be fine. Braden Mann's been great since he got here. So, I mean, it's practice. We're not going to look a lot at punters and kickers, but I was right about him every day, the special teams period. More about today, I wrote about the punt return rotation, the personal protectors. But yeah, they're solid, and they have no competition, obviously. So, I mean, Jake Elliott's your kicker, Braden Mann. What is interesting is the Eagles went through their sort of revealed their emergency. So if guys get hurt during the game,
Right,
which you saw years ago with John Dornbos and at long snapper, Grant Calcaterra is the emergency long snapper. Cooper DeJean is the emergency holder, which should surprise no one because Cooper can do everything. They might as well make him the emergency long snapper. But,
Cooper's going to be the emergency. He's the emergency quarterback. He's the emergency.
By the way, it's just another little hint, for people. There's certain guys who people don't believe are entrenched, like Grant Calcaterra is entrenched. For those hoping for weird reasons.
When you say entrenched, do you mean for the season or what?
Yeah. He's the backup tight end. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if we expected him to go anywhere, did we?
Well, some people did.
I don't think I did. Well, Harrison Bryant's coming in to save the day.
Kylan Granson, Harrison Bryant, a lot of hype over those guys in the offseason.
Even JD3 gave up on that dream, man, and he was like the biggest truther I ever met against Grant Calcaterra.
I got a lot of they need to improve over Grant Calcaterra.
Well, Calcaterra doesn't really do what I guess they would want a tight end to do from a perspective of everything outside of catching the football, but he's working on it, and I think he's gotten a little bit better over the years at that stuff.
Yeah, he's got great hands. Great hands.
Yeah, well, great hands. But outside of that, what does he have? I think
no, he didn't come in as a great blocker, but he's gotten better. I mean, there's a lot of guys who there's not a lot of tight ends that can do both these days at a high level. You're either a receiver or you're a blocker. You're not both. And there's very few that can do both at a high level. And Dallas is one of them, which is why he's so valuable and why I'm surprised the Eagles went down the route they want before they were able to work things out. But there aren't a lot of guys like that in the modern NFL. You usually piecemeal it. And when you do piecemeal it, you're tipping off the defense. Well, so-and-so's in, it's, you don't got to worry about the running game nearly as much and vice versa. So it's only a handful of those guys left.
Yeah, good stuff. Johnny Mack, you talked about the backed up period where they were operating the offense from inside. You wrote that the offense beat the defense 4-3. Anything notable from that period worth mentioning that we didn't already?
Devontae kind of mentioned, got a big third down. And so did Jahan Dotson. And they're the reason they won it. But again, you're when you're backed up, you're not taking big shots down the field. It's so you're trying to get to the sticks, and they were able to do it. So, yeah, Jahan Dotson, he's having a strong camp as well.
That's good. I'm happy to hear that about Jahan, man.
Yeah, he's a good player. And I think, maybe next year when he's somewhere else, he might be able to show it a little bit more.
Well, you're certainly getting a good education in the game playing behind Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. That's for damn sure. So you're right. Maybe he can parlay it. But I actually think Dotson's going to be needed a little bit more this year, John, than he was last year. I'm not saying his role is going to be this huge role, but I think his number is going to get called a little bit more this year than it was last year. And I'm happy to hear he's having a good camp because that shows you he's at least more ready for the moment than the alternative.
Yeah, well, I think he showed that last year down the stretch.
Late he did. He
If
did.
if the ball does come his way, he's not going to Quez Watkins it. He's gonna make the play.
Where is Quez? Is he still in the league?
Yeah, he just got put on IR. I think.
I know he was in Pittsburgh for a little bit, right?
Yeah, he was in Pittsburgh. It might have been Indy with Shane. I just saw it the other day.
Quez.
Cardinals. Oh, so it was Jonathan. Yeah.
Oh, all right. You were right. It was one of the former assistants here in Philly.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Eagles always liked him. Nick Sirianni liked him, but he just, didn't translate. Just, and like I said, some guys have difficulty when they don't get the football. They have difficulty. Yeah, I compare it to utility men in baseball. They only get to play once a week. That's a skill to be able to, a lot of great players, whether they're running backs or receivers, quarterbacks especially, got to get in a rhythm. They're always talking about getting in a rhythm. Tough to get in a rhythm when once in a blue moon you're getting the football.
Yep, no doubt about it. John, talk to me about, you said you spoke about it a little earlier just with Quinyon versus Devontae, but you got the opportunity to see some one-on-ones between receivers and defensive backs. That's got to be some of the funnest one-on-ones to watch, just tactical, technicians kind of going to work, trying to get the better of the other guy. What'd you see in that period? Anybody stick out that maybe isn't a surprising name?
Well, Anias has been better at that this year. Which I think was positive. Not necessarily today, but in the past, he got Cooper a couple of times, previous practices. Because you have all this space and he's quick and he's shifty. Johnny Wilson today got a go route. Johnny Wilson looked a little bit better. I should have mentioned him.
There you go. A little Johnny Wilson on a football Monday, Brian Pumper.
Catching the football a little bit better, more consistent. And Elijah Cooks and Eli Ricks, that's sort of like a mini version of Quinyon versus AJ or Devontae. Those two have been fun to watch, Eli Ricks and Elijah Cooks. Because Elijah's this big 6'4" basketball player. He can use his body. He's a big receiver that plays like a big receiver, and Eli is a long corner. And they've been having a good back and forth. I would say Eli's gotten the best of them, but they've been having a good back and forth over the
Eli
past
having a
couple
good
of days.
camp, John. It seems like Eli's having a good camp.
Yeah, he's picked it up. I asked Vic. That was the first question I asked him about. I asked him about Eli and if he could get involved, as we talked about, with Quignon, to play opposite Quignon with Adoree Jackson, Kaylee Ringo. And he said, yeah, he can, and you're right. So the question was, noticed him the past couple of days, where is he in the conversation when he talked about the spot opposite of Quignon Mitchell? Can he get involved with that? And Vic said, yeah, he can, and you're right. He has made some plays the last few days that were good plays. And same thing, that theme. He needs to eliminate the negative ones too, which I think he's working hard to do. And I see definite improvement from last year to this year. So some positive Eli Ricks news, but that kicked off the theme because he mentioned needing to eliminate the negative plays with basically 4 or 5 different young players. That was the theme. So some of those guys are frustrating him a little bit.
Yeah, good stuff there, Johnny Mac Johnson. Just real quick, run through those position battles that we've been talking about every single day. Cornerback, Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson. Who got the first rep today? Who got the better of that matchup today?
Keely got the first rep. So it's 5-4.
5-4.
Again, we don't get to see the walkthroughs, so who knows? It might be 6-5. But,
that's true. Has there been 2 walkthroughs, right? Yeah, 2.
Yeah. So anyway, for the first rep watchers, I always say, which aren't as important. Nothing dramatic from either where you're going to say, oh, he's pulling away.
Yeah,
I
thought the Vic comments. I mean, he basically said what we've all been thinking. It's a close battle.
Yeah, the guy's pulling away is Sidney Brown.
Is that a good thing? That's a good thing, right?
Well, I think it's a thing. It's a where you're going to go. That's one of those things. If you can't play, and Makuba's missed 6 practices now in team drills. 6. And Vic said he's probably not playing in the preseason game. So, he might miss 7 in the preseason game before he gets back. It's still early August, but you saw it last year with Cooper. He values, if you're not out there. And he got asked about the safety position and what he said about, evaluating them. He said, well, Makuba hasn't been practicing, so can't answer that. That was his answer.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, Vic is funny. Vic's one of those dudes that's just like funny without even trying to be funny. He's just like funny. Listen to.
Well, he's like, maybe he's telling the truth. He can't evaluate them if they're not out there. So,
yeah, no doubt. Good stuff there on the safety in the corner, John. Real quick, linebackers again, Trotter and Campbell, right? So Bond obviously still not practicing. Trotter and Campbell are the 2 in. Anything notable from those 2 guys today?
I'm a little concerned about Jihad from the standpoint that Munden's getting a lot of nickel reps, 7-on-7 reps.
That's interesting. Munden stepping up, 5th rounder.
So essentially, he's getting the coverage reps a lot of the times. And it seems to have picked up over the past couple of days. So not sure if Vic is happy with Jihad from that standpoint. But he mentioned he's put a lot on Jihad's plate, probably unfairly. And maybe he's trying to scale it back a little bit.
How do you view that? As a good thing or as a bad thing? Like you could maybe make an argument. Hey, that's because they see the potential in the player, so they're putting a lot on his plate, seeing what he can handle.
Yeah, well, Vic has said that's the way he does it. He throws a lot at people and then scales it back. Most people build up. Vic throws everything at you and sees what you can handle and what you can't.
There have been few who passed that Fangio test, John. I think Quinion and Coop kind of both passed it last year, didn't they?
Yeah, well, yeah. Certainly Quinion did.
Yeah.
Cooper didn't practice for a while. It took him a while, but yeah. That kind of surprised me when I was talking to Vic last year. He's like, "Yeah, I'd like to throw a lot at them," and I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then scale it back. So it's not something new to him. He does it all the time. But he realizes it can be overwhelming too. He's sort of like testing you from that standpoint as well. I'm not too worried about it because ultimately, they're just being cautious with Zach. Zach's going to be back. So, I mean, it's not like Small Munden's going to be your nickel linebacker unless something dramatically goes wrong with Zach from a health standpoint. So, I'm not too worried about it, but I do think it's interesting that he's getting so many first team reps. And at first I thought, when it first started to happen, Jihad was still limited. Jihad's no longer limited. So,
do you think Jihad will play in the preseason game Thursday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No question.
Good. Can't wait to see that on Thursday with some of those guys. I don't know how many reps they'll get.
How much, but
yeah, not much, but it will be good to see them out there. John, you already mentioned the other spot there, the edge rusher. Interesting. Uche gets the first snap this week, today on the opposite side. Nolan Smith. We'll keep an eye on that. And then, John, last one, right guard. Still steam through and through at that spot?
Yeah. He went down today and he was in a lot of pain. And we're like, oh boy. But luckily, not luckily, but just got kicked in the family jewels, evidently.
Ooh,
so
brutal.
He was able to get his bearings and get right back in there. So
luckily, not a big injury, but unluckily hitting the jewels.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's gotten 98%. They had a couple reps with Matt Pryor. Like I said, maybe he had to go to the bathroom. Maybe he had to tie his shoe the other day. But, he's been out there pretty much the whole time.
Good
Matt
stuff.
Pryor had to he lit up Patrick Johnson today.
Good.
He was in for a first team rep. They managed Lane, so he's playing right tackle. Lane they manage his snaps.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
And he just caught Patrick Johnson with a trap block, and he just Mekhi Bectoned him.
I love it. I love it, baby. Matt Pryor imposing his will. All right, Johnny Mac, great opening segment here, recapping the Eagles' day number 9 on the practice field. Let's get to some super chats right now. Philly Don checking in. What's up, Philly Don? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. John, will we see the starters in the preseason?
You'll see a lot on defense. I don't think you'll see a lot on offense.
Tell me what you think. Keely Ringo, will we see him?
Yes. Anybody who's competing, you're going to see. Everybody who's competing.
What about like a Trotter? Because he's technically going to be the starter.
No, he's going to play.
He'll play. Campbell, you already said you think will play. Jalix Hunt?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nolan Smith?
He's just got no.
Okay, no Nolan Smith. So we draw the line there. Moro Jomo is a definite no, I would say. And then
Jalen Carter's a no. I think Jordan Davis will be a no.
Me too.
I think Moro will be a no. I think Zach
Quinion and Coop probably both a no on. Definitely no.
I would go no on both of them.
Yep.
Anybody competing is going to play, but Vic's a little bit different. He might give him a series or two.
Yeah. Sidney Brown will play, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, Sidney's got to play. Yeah. Offensively, yeah. I mean,
John, we got some preseason excitement. Are you kidding me? That's a lot of guys we think are playing on Thursday night.
Well, Vic did that last year. People just don't remember. He likes to play the guys.
I know he
a little
does.
bit.
Yeah, I know he does. But
Offensively is a different story. And I don't think you should blame them for, you're not gonna play Lane Johnson. You're not going to play Jordan Mailata. You're not going to play Landon Dickerson. You're not going to play Cam Jurgens coming off the back injury. So obviously you're not going to play the quarterback without the offensive line, or Saquon for that matter. And AJ's banged up now. Devontae was banged up. Yeah, I don't expect to see any of those guys.
no,
But I will not be asking Nick Sirianni that question tomorrow. Somebody will.
Somebody will, right? You're not going to do it. Tyler Steen, think he'll play?
No.
Yeah, me neither. All right, good stuff. Dirty Air checking in. What's up, Dirty Air? Let's put Johnny Wilson at safety since we know no one's catching balls when they're thrown near him.
Poor Johnny taking strays. Johnny's not you got to move a little bit better. Yeah, Johnny's 6'6", man. You don't see 6'6" safeties, Dirty Air.
No, I think he's kidding.
No, I know he's trolling. Poor Johnny Wilson. I said Johnny's taking strays.
Yeah, well, Johnny, make the catches and you won't take as many strays.
First of all, he's got to catch the ball more consistently, which he did at practice today. But as I mentioned, he had a pretty good day. He caught everything. I mean, how many drops did he have? He caught, they never threw the ball. He had
140 million people are watching in the Super Bowl, and you can't catch a flick pass. People remember that one the most. Doesn't matter how many there were.
I know, but that's what I'm trying to say is that does not correlate to, receivers don't make the NFL if they can't catch. There's a difference between Chris Carter and Johnny Wilson, but
yes, there is.
There's also a difference between Johnny Wilson and Dirty Air and all the people trolling.
Dirty Air taken in a woodshed by J-Mac. I love it. In Flight checks in. What's up, In Flight? Thoughts on Parsons' trade to Bills for Cook? Not happening.
Yeah, I mean, the history of Jerry Jones is he's going to pay in the end after he gets his free publicity. Now, again, if Micah wants to go down the route of I hate this organization, I refuse to play for them. At some point, something's got to happen. I don't know if he's going to take it to that level. You look at Myles Garrett before this, when he was asking for a trade and I want to play for a winner, and all the Eagles hype started on that. And ultimately, he makes up with Cleveland, gets the big deal, and Cleveland did nothing in the offseason to make them a contender, unless you think Kenny Pickett's going to, or Shador Sanders or Dylan Gabriel or Joe Flacco. And you never hear Miles complaining. So ultimately, I think when they pay him, Michael will be fine. But no, that's not a fair trade. Micah Parsons. Was that the question? Micah Parsons for James Cook is not a fair trade.
I don't know, probably like another first in there at least.
Yeah, you got to add a little bit more to that.
Here's what I got: Tanner McKay, a first and a third.
Jesus.
That's not going to get it done, will it?
No.
Jerry's looking to move off Dakota. We'll see what happens. DU says, I'm proud of how's my boy Agbo Okoronkwo looking?
Yeah, Agbo's doing pretty good. He's already getting some second team reps. I think he's got a chance to make the team unless they do something else. Because I think, at least he knows how to play. And Vic mentioned him a little bit today. Mentioned he played defensive end for most of his career. They're playing him what they call overhang, which is the left end, but the Eagles call her overhang player. So that's what Nolan typically plays. And he said we asked them to drop a little bit there. Again, the flat defender. Vic's very focused on being able to drop a little bit and play a little bit differently, maybe that he's been accustomed to. So he said he's fighting through that and learning that stuff. But I just think he's a better player than some of the other guys they have, which is not necessarily a positive sign. I don't know if people can tell, but I'm not high on the edge rushing room outside of Nolan Smith.
Yeah, you've been on, and you've been consistent with that, really, for anybody that's listened to us all off season. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Balenci checks in. What's up, brother? J-Mac and Z, what's more likely? Q becomes a first or second team All-Pro. Coop gets 6 interceptions in the season, or Jahad Campbell, Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. I think all three are kind of possible. I mean, they're
yeah. I mean, I don't. Like, come on, who cares about that stuff? But it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Quinyon was an All-Pro this season. 6 is a lot, but it's like, who cares? Generally, if you're getting 6 interceptions, people are throwing the ball a lot, and if he's playing safety, he's got a better shot. People don't want him to play safety. He's not going to get 6 as a nickel. So I would say that's probably the unlikeliest one, unless he's playing safety. And Jahad, yeah, I mean, if he gets out there week 1 and he plays the whole season, I mean, part of winning Rookie of the Year is you need playing time. And if he plays a lot and he makes some splash plays, who knows? But ultimately, I would say, who cares, guys? Don't you want to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but that's still part of the game. I mean, watching the players that you enjoy, and that's what makes people watch, is that they like players and they want, they have, like, when they do things, John. That's part of it. Don't be a no fun zone, McMullen. You're like an extra no fun zone.
Oh, it's just like 6. Why are you so random? 6 interceptions.
NFC McMullen, no fun zone McMullen.
No fun league. So I'm no fun. Sounds like a WIP. Will Cooper DeJean have 6 interceptions? Yeah.
All right, one more, then we're getting to a commercial break. Oh, it's from Brian Pumper, so this should be good. This running back run is tragic. It's Saquon and a bunch of random generated characters. Like, are y'all for real? Y'all believe in a dude named William Shipley? Oh,
what? Last year they had Saquon and Kenny Gainwell and Will Shipley. So what's the difference? If the one guy runs for 2,500 yards, who cares?
Didn't Kenny Gainwell have like 350 yards last year, 400 yards last year?
Yeah, Kenny did a good job. Yeah,
I know, but I'm saying it's not like we're asking.
The Eagles ran for 3,100 yards or something, like 6th highest total ever. So I mean, certainly a franchise record as well. They ran the football pretty effectively last year.
Good stuff. Brian Pump, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. Got a great show so far. Already 1 hour done. That was a quick 1 hour with the legendary Johnny Mack. Good stuff today. Day number 9 in the books, John. Coming up on preseason game tomorrow. We'll be live. I'll be live at 8 a.m. I'll get John for a little bit by phone like we normally do in the morning, and then we'll have another nightcap edition. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, normal 8 to 10 a.m. Spurs 365. So stay tuned for that. Looking forward to seeing and talking to all of you guys throughout the week. Let's get to our first commercial break. Appreciate everybody watching. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Back in, everybody, to a Monday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mack, John McMullen, as we were wrapping up day number 9 for the Eagles on the practice field. I believe it's day 11. There was 2 walkthroughs that the media did not have access to. So day number 9 for what we've seen on the practice field for the Birds. We are 3 days out, John, from the first preseason game. Anything exciting you, John, about that Thursday night preseason game? Anything on your mind as we go into that thing? Come on, Johnny Mac, give me something.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of preseason football, as you can imagine. But
I can certainly.
I mean, there's some guys. I do like some of the young receivers. I think, Charles Jackson today shown a lot of ability to separate. Now, typically against fellow third-team corners, but same thing with Taylor Morin. I'm excited to see him as a punt returner, see if he can make some noise. Darius Cooper too, really athletic guy. So some of those guys who are going to play, I'm interested to see a lot. Montrell Johnson, who's a running back, he's hurt. Unfortunately, because he was having a good camp. So I doubt we're going to get to see him. Shunderick Powell's another guy who he's really small and he keeps, like, they had live periods. Like I said, the other day when they had live, he's banging into people. He's banging in from the 2-yard line. He's 180 pounds. They list him. I think he's smaller than that. He's been pretty impressive, so maybe he's somebody to keep an eye on. Defensively, Byron Young got hurt. He's a guy I wanted to see. Gabe Hall's a guy who's probably going to get a ton of time. Keep an eye on him. Ogbo will probably get to play. He's a little bit older. Maybe you can get kind of a feel for him. Lance Dixon at linebacker, Small Munden, obviously, but Lance Dixon as well. is a guy who's pretty athletic. And then Mac McWilliams is hurt, so he's a guy I wanted to see play. Eli's big, In fact, Vic even said when he was talking about Eli, he said he's going to get a ton of preseason snaps. So you're going to see a lot of Eli Ricks. And really he's got to show that he can handle the run support part of it and show up physically, and that's because he's really, slight guy, skinny. So we'll see if he can do that. And then the safeties, you're not going to see Makuba, but you're going to see Tristan McCullum. You're going to see Andre Sam. You're going to even see Maxon Hook. Lewis Seen is hurt. So, those are the guys you should probably be looking for. And not a lot of those names have upside for the 53-man roster, but a lot of them have upside to be on the practice squad. And if you're on the practice squad, you're an injury away a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. And who do you think is on the bubble there to actually make the 53? I'm sure some of those guys are, could potentially be brought in. I think the 53 is pretty close to allotted. I mean, for the most part, but how many of those guys you think are bubble players, John? It does feel like, and maybe this is just a feeling, and I don't know if it's fully accurate or not, but feels like you've written a lot about some of these guys this camp that have had good days in practice, whether it's Elijah Cooks or Giles Jackson or the running back Montrell Johnson or some of the I feel like I've read a little bit more about them this year. I don't know if that's true or not, but any of those guys?
I always like to write about the under guy because they're more interesting to me. I can write.
That's a good player.
Yeah, I can write every day. Lane Johnson's great. It's not changing tomorrow. AJ's great. Saquon's great. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think the more interesting stories are the guys, trying to fight through. Like nobody thought Britton Covey was making this team. I'll tell you that. And he did. So, I mean, there's always those little breakthroughs. And who knows, maybe you'll have one this year, but defensively, I mean, you're going to see guys who are going to make the team play defensively pretty consistently, like Eli Ricks. Eli's going to make the team. And Vic said today he's got to get a lot of preseason reps.
We'll see how that all shakes out. Going to be fun to watch some of those guys duke it out in that preseason game. You think Joe Burrow will play, John? He normally actually plays in the preseason.
Does he? I don't know.
He normally does. He did last year.
Well, there's some Tom Brady like to play in the preseason. Yeah. I mean, if he does, it'll be, don't get a sandwich, sit down. It'll be
a series.
Yeah, it'll be a series. And
throw the ball at Ringo and Sidney Brown, please.
And you hope that you have a long series if you're playing somebody for a series. But yeah, I mean, Tom Brady always wanted to play in the preseason. So a lot of it, when you get to that level, a lot of it depends on the players themselves. But in the case of the Eagles, I mean, offensively, again, you're going to be cautious with the offensive line. And if the offensive line isn't out there, you can't play anybody else. You're not going to risk Jalen Hurts behind.
No way.
The second team offense or Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, and does anybody really want Cam Jurgens pushing back from back surgery so they can see the offensive line for a series in August?
No.
I wouldn't.
No, I don't think that's I don't think that's actually going to happen. John, let's talk about some of the players that I think have had good camps and then maybe some guys who haven't. Moro Ojomo, John, I want to talk about him for a second. He continues to impress and put together a really good training camp. And
I made a big mistake today.
Oh, what's that?
The Eagles were backed up. It was that competitive period. and they had to get 4 yards to win, and they drew Morrow off sides, and they were so happy. It was crazy. They were so proud of themselves. We were on
the
the
only way to
sideline.
stop Moro Jomo, John, is to get him to jump off sides.
We were on the sideline with the offense, and everybody was just congratulating each other. It was funny. So yeah, he probably heard it from Vic too. You didn't want to jump off sides at the 2-yard line.
No.
But he did. And so nobody's perfect, but yeah, he's had a very good summer.
John, I'm optimistic he can have as good of a year as Milton Williams had last year.
Well, I've already called you crazy on that one, but yeah. I
You
don't
haven't
see
seen
that.
anything in camp that would show you that you think he can get at least close to that?
I don't think.
I mean, remember, he is playing next to Jalen Carter. You know what I mean? Like, he does kind of have a really good – he's got Zach Bond behind him. He's got Jalen Carter next to him and Jordan Davis, who's going to eat up blockers. I mean, he got the pieces around him to thrive versus Milton. You know, maybe it was a little bit better with the edge rusher with Josh Sweat on the other side of him. But Milton's not going to have –
for whatever – I think, I think if that was Milton's third year, for whatever reason, because he left – I guess it's not for whatever reason, because he left and he's no longer a part of the team. Way too many people in Philadelphia are downgrading what he did.
Why is that downgrading? How am I downgrading what he did?
By comparing players that you don't have a lot of experience to what he was able to do last year. Like I said,
it's not like
I think if that was his third year instead of his fourth year and the Eagles still had one more year, I think people would never shut up about Milton Williams. That's how good he was last year. So that's, and by the way, if it was his third year and he was going into his fourth year and he was coming back, I don't even think Milton Williams could replicate what he did last year, probably.
Yeah, but if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. I'll hit you with that. The classic if. I mean, it was his fourth year. It took him 4 years. I don't know what you want from me. He's gone now. I don't think I'm being disrespectful by saying a Jomo could potentially get close to what he was. I mean, the Eagles didn't even identify him as a I don't know. What do you call it when they want to keep a player around here? He was below the demarcation line
No, he wasn't.
Dude, they let him walk, John.
They let him walk. There's 26 million reasons why they let him walk.
All right, so whatever.
They wouldn't let him walk.
I guarantee you they don't walk away from Jalen Carter, whatever the number is. It could be 40 million they'll fucking pay.
That's the point. That's the point. That's not CJ. That's not Dallas. If he was 15 or under, they're fucking keeping him.
15 or under? That's not even realistic, though.
Well, that's the point. It's not. He wasn't under the demarcation line. He's under the shit we can't keep him line because you can't pay 2 defensive tackles that level of money.
Yeah, but
they're thinking ahead.
That's what creates the demarcation line. Okay, who can we pay? Who do we want to pay?
No. There's a difference between CJ and Dallas and even Josh and Milton. And Milton was about pure money, and he got too much money. They were trying to sign him desperately, but he bet on himself, and he hit a grand slam. He didn't hit a home run. He hit a grand fucking slam.
Well, that I agree with, but I certainly don't think it's crazy to say that.
They were trying to extend him for the entire time he was eligible, and he knew he was going to get an opportunity because Fletcher retired to play more, and he bet on himself. That's not the same as the other guys.
Yeah, but what does that do with Moro Jomo stepping up?
No, but to your aunt and uncle analogy, the point is that, he's not the same player. Well, you can cross your fingers. Everybody's going to listen to me, and believe me, they'll put it up if I get it wrong. If I get it wrong, I get it wrong. He ain't having that year. I don't think Milton would come back and have that year. I already said it. That's why He ain't having that year.
How good was this guy last year that you're talking?
Well, that's
like
what
fucking
that,
Aaron Donald. I mean, holy shit! I've never heard you talk so highly about a player in my life. Milton Williams was he historic last year? Am I missing something? I mean, I know he had a good year, but I don't know. Was he the sixth or seventh most important player in the defense?
First of all, I talk about Myles Garrett. I talk about Micah Parsons. I talk about it. I'm not talking about it like that. You're just going out on a limb to try. I don't know what you're trying to do. I'm trying to say his year last year for the Philadelphia Eagles was phenomenal. And for whatever reason, people don't recognize it as you're doing right now because he's gone. If he were here, you'd be head over heels in the guy saying how good he was last year. Why wouldn't you? That's what I'm saying. And now you're trying to talk yourself into a guy who's got 400 fucking reps in his entire career, talking into having that type of year. Anything's possible. If you're a betting man, I'd steer a pretty opposite direction. I mean, the guy's been beaten up on Tyler Steen too. Like when people shit on Jalix, you don't get to beat up on Tyler Steen.
Yeah,
he's running into Jordan Mailata every day. Part of the reason Azeez Ojulari looks so bad is because he's running into Lane Johnson or Jordan every stinking play. And Josh Uche, when he does flash, it's against Kendall Lamb and then against those guys. He's beaten up on Tyler Steen. And again, the Eagles don't rotate their defensive tackles much, as Ty Robinson pointed out. He's been beaten up on Tyler Steen. Just put that context into it.
Who the hell did Milton Williams beat up on last year?
Other teams.
Probably closer to Tyler Steen.
With some other teams with some good guards, some bad guards, and everybody in between.
Yeah, and he had a streak. I mean, he wasn't perfect every game. I'm looking at his grades right now.
Nobody's perfect.
Well, I know that.
Jalen Carter's not perfect. Hall of Famers. Micah Parsons isn't perfect.
No. But the original point, John, was can Morrow make an impact like Milton made last year? You've dismissed that as to be an asinine thinking.
I think it's unfair, just like Vic laughed at the Jalix Hunt
maybe
stuff.
statistically,
I think it's
a little
unfair.
But I think the impact thing is not unfair.
I think statistically, I don't give a shit about. The impact is what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's why Vic laughed when people brought up the Micah Parsons shit with Jalix Hunt. It's the same thing. It's irresponsible is what Vic called it. It's unfair.
Okay, well, you get on Eagles fans' backs about how we grade Jalen Hurts at the last two games of the year. I'm looking at Milton's grades right now. His two best grades were the last two grades of the year. All the other grades were good. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't a good player, but he did not deliver a performance last year that was, you can't replicate it. I don't think that's that crazy to have a hope that Morrow, again, he might not land on it. I don't think it's that far-fetched. To say Morrow Ajomo is going to be like Jalen Carter, yeah, you're fucking nuts. To say he could do what Milton Williams did last year next to the same two guys that he was next to, why is that really that crazy? Well, Jomo did play 400 or 500 snaps last year.
Milton played whatever 20 games, whatever. It's the 13th best defensive tackle in football. You're talking about grades over that extended period. Week 1 counts the same as Super Bowl. Over that extended period, he was the 13th best defensive tackle in football, according to the grades you're citing. As a pass rusher, he was fucking number 1. Number 1. So do I think Morajoma is going to be number 1? I don't. But hey, have at it. I don't care. Have at it. I'm saying it's unfair.
Okay, so how good?
And by the way, I think Moro Jomo is a good player. It's unfair to expect that out of him this year.
How good's Milton Williams going to be in his new location?
Well, he's not. I don't think he'd be as good. I just said.
I know.
I don't think he could be as good. I don't think he could be as good running it back here because career years are career years. Yeah, you don't generally have a career year and have another career year and then have another career year.
I understand that. That's not the point I'm trying to illustrate. I'm trying to illustrate that I believe that the team he was with last year and the players he played next to played a large part in his ability to produce at such a high level. Now Moro Jomo has slotted into that spot with Jalen Carter, with Jordan Davis, with Nolan Smith, with Zach Bond behind him, with the secondary there. I have a feeling that Moro Jomo is going to have a good setup around him to be able to thrive, John.
What is the difference between every name you mentioned and not adding Milton Williams other than he's not here?
Well, I didn't say Milton Williams wasn't a part of that, but do you not think that Milton Williams benefited at all from the players next to him?
Well, I think everybody benefited from Milton Williams who played next to him as well.
So you think Jalen Carter benefited more from Milton Williams than vice versa?
I didn't say more. I said benefited from playing next to Milton Williams. I said, everybody. Certainly Josh Sweat.
How it works. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys.
Certainly Josh Sweat deserves to be in that conversation as well.
Oh, I definitely agree.
Darius Slay, CJ Gardner-Johnson, every single one of them. Every player they lost, even Isaiah Rodgers and Oren Burks, because they not only performed at a high level, they performed at a high level, even role players, which is very, very rare. Special is special. They had a special season, and everybody contributed. Is Jalen Carter the most talented?
Special though? Like it wasn't that. Did he even make the Pro Bowl or the All Pro? Like anything? Did he get anything? Was he recognized anywhere for anything that he did last year?
What? Can I ask why that matters?
Because you're talking about him, John, like he had this insane season. I don't think it was that insane. It was good. He had a great year. Congratulations, he got paid a bunch of money. I don't think it's insane to say, can Moro Jomo do that?
All right, so you want to cite his grades when you want to make a point, but you want to ignore his grades when they don't support your point. Again, I'm looking at the number. So 97 interior defensive linemen were played enough to be graded as pass rushers. And Milton, by the way, is not the best run defender. Very similar to Javon Hargrave when he was here.
Right.
But as a pass rusher, 97, and he was number 1. That's not special? Like, I don't give a shit because somebody, like, there are, and I'm an all-pro voter. And there are people, and look, I'm going to show a little hubris here. I know a lot about football. There are some guys who vote for all pro that don't know a lot about football. And that are going to vote for, oh, I know this guy, or this guy's been a 6-time all pro, or this guy's been, I'm just going to vote for him again.
I certainly
don't give a shit about I give a shit about how guys are playing. Milton Williams played at an extremely, extremely high level. The league validated that by his contract. Not only me. Do I think he's going to live up to that contract? I said it pretty consistently. No, I don't. But I'm not. You act like I want to win. He got paid $26 million because of the play he played last season.
I'm aware of that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that was a large part because Jalen Carter's coming every single play. He played 98. Whatever
I've told people, Jalen Carter consistently on this show is the most talented defensive player the Eagles have had since Reggie White. I've told people that consistently. He has still not reached his potential. If you're talking about consistency, Milton was more consistent than he was. Now, Jalen has a much higher upside, No doubt about that. Because very few people have ever had the upside of Jalen Carter. And, you know, again, if you want to go to those grades you're citing, Milton was 13, Jalen was 18. I mean, yes. Does Jalen Carter...
You're not leaving out context, though, John.
I'm giving you the context.
It was
Jalen Carter...
like...
What does that mean? Aaron Donald was number one every year. Nobody's been more double teamed in the history of football. People recognize double teams.
Okay, but if Jalen Carter gets double teamed, that means Milton Williams has a one-on-one every fucking play. Every play. If he grades out higher than the guy who gets double teamed every play, that would show you that the double team is helping the other guy.
Okay. You don't understand grading of football. Sorry to put it bluntly.
Here we go.
They're not looking at the context of grading, and why it makes it better than stats is because you're grading, and this is, by the way, not even PFF. They do a great job because they know more than most people, but even they don't know what guys are trying to accomplish. So when you're talking about in NovaCare Complex or for Eagles grades for themselves, they're the only ones that have the proper grades because they know what's trying to be accomplished. You're not getting graded down because you're getting double teamed. If you handle the double team and open up something for one of your teammates, you get graded up. That's the context of it. Nobody's getting graded down because they're getting double teamed and not making what a fan would call an effective play. They're getting graded up if they draw a double team and do what they're supposed to do. Jordan Davis, even better example, is a nose tackle. If you're taking up two blockers and enabling to Zach Bond or Nakobe Dean to flow to the football and make a play, you're getting graded up, not down, because you didn't make a play. That's the context of grading. You're not getting penalized because you get double teamed. That's not how it works.
Okay, so is the grading so important that you think Milton was better than Jalen Carter last year?
No, I don't think he was better. What I'm trying to say is he had a tremendous fucking year. And if he was here, you'd fucking acknowledge it. And now you're trying to downplay it.
I didn't downplay it. I've said it 20 times. He had a great year. Why do you keep saying I'm downplaying it?
Because you're sitting there taking shots about me saying I'm comparing Milton Williams to Aaron fucking Donald.
John, the only person who took a shot was you by saying I don't understand football. That's fine. I didn't take a personal shot.
No, what I said is you don't understand grading.
Okay.
You don't. Did
Okay,
you know that?
You've explained it to me, and you haven't moved me off my position. That's not my problem.
Well, it's not your problem because you don't want to listen to what it is.
No, I am listening. I just don't think Milton Williams was irreplaceable.
You think Jalen Carter's getting downgraded because he's getting double teamed. Did you not?
Well, did you not use the context that Milton was graded higher than Carter? What do you mean? I responded to you grading, saying he was graded higher than Carter.
Why are you arguing the point of grading when I explain it to you?
Because you used that he was graded higher than Carter when I said Carter helped Milton.
I used it to say he was higher than Carter to say he had a great fucking year.
Okay. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think Moro Ujomo can be what he was. I don't think that's crazy to say.
Good.
I don't think that
down. We do this show every day. We do this show every day, and you're going to see the fucking difference. You're going to see the difference. You're going to see the difference between Josh Sweat and Jalix Hunt. You're going to see the difference between Darius Slay and whoever wins that job.
Did Milton benefit or not from Jalen Carter last year? Yes or no?
Did Milton Williams?
Did Milton Williams benefit?
Yes.
Okay. Can Moro Ujomo also benefit from playing next to a generational talented player?
Yes.
Okay. That's where I think he's going to have a good year.
I didn't say he wasn't going to have a good year. You were saying he could have the same type of year as Milton Williams. I said, that's crazy. That's, is he going to be the best pass rusher graded by PFF in football? All right. Maybe he will be. Believe me, I'll be the first one on this show, if he's the best interior pass rusher in football, saying that motherfucker had a great year. I'm playing the odds.
Yeah, but
my
is
guess
that,
is
is that the only way to gauge it, whether if he's first on PFF or not?
No, it's
I mean,
not
I
the
understand
only-
that's what we've talked about on this show, but there's certainly other ways to view how impactful a football player is on a team.
Of course there is. Of course there is. Is he gonna play at the same level of Milton Williams? In my opinion, no. Is he gonna help the team win a Super Bowl? Probably not. And that's not going to be his fault. Is he going to play like that in the Super Bowl? Well, first you got to get to the Super Bowl. So that's going to be difficult to do as well. So, is he going to replicate an historic season for an interior pass rusher? Probably not. Probably not.
We'll see what happens.
Is he going to make $26 million when he gets to free agency?
Wouldn't surprise me if he has 2 good years next to Jalen Carter like Milton did.
Well, then he'll make more because,
well, yeah,
the salary cap's only going up. But the Eagles aren't going to pay him because they got to pay Jalen Carter.
Damn right.
So
Carter,
you're gonna see what the rest of
which in a way proves my point. I mean, my point is that this system is going to create players, an environment for players to play above what they're capable of, or to play at the best that they can be. Like you always say about coaches, you're not going to change a player, but you can get them to be a little bit better. Playing in the Eagles defense, in my opinion, is going to get a player to play a little bit better. I think Moro Jomo could be right there.
Well, I think Vic does that with everybody. But I also think that, he's working with a lesser group this year than he was working with last year. I think they're all going to be better than they were.
Remember, this time last year, we thought that was a pretty shoddy group. We had them as the worst linebacker core in football.
Well, and about 100 other people around who cover the NFL. Nobody knew what Zach Bond was going to be. Nobody, even Vic. Even Zach himself. But that is a complete outlier. I mean, that normally doesn't happen in the NFL. But you can point, if you want to point to Zach Bond and assume that, Azeez Ojulari or pick any of the Tamu off signings because, Zach Bond did it. I don't like your odds.
I don't think Milton was that good, man. I don't think he was Zach Bond level good.
I didn't say I'm saying
that's why
you're using the point of Zach Bond to make it like it's normal. And it's that kind of thing can happen.
No,
again.
I'm making the point because I've told you I don't think Milton was this player that is unreachable or unattainable for the next person to reach. I don't think he was that incredible.
I don't think it's unattainable for a lot of people to reach. I think it's unattainable for somebody who's had 400 career snaps or whatever in his second real year playing. That's, maybe 3 years down the road or a couple more years of development, maybe it is possible. I'm saying this year to make that leap. I say the same thing about Alex Hunt. To make that leap, it just generally doesn't happen. I mean, but I mean, to the point of, the best defensive tackles in football, which are still, the Chris Joneses of the world.
Yeah, for clarity, I think Chris was graded above Milton, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's probably number one. That's what I'm saying.
Told me Milton was one.
No, I'm trying to make a point to the guys who are at that level, which is higher than both Jalen Carter and Milton Williams, the Chris Joneses, the Dexter Lawrences, those guys, Jeffrey Simmons is, Milton doesn't have the potential to reach that. Jalen does. But, make no mistake, when Chris Jones is there, Chris Jones gets double teamed all the fucking time. Nobody gets more double teamed than Dexter Lawrence. He's a nose tackle. Chris was number 1. Dexter was number 3. Nobody's downgrading you for getting double teamed.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to downgrade Milton Williams. I mean, I think he had a great year. I think that's the one thing you said that I don't think I definitely didn't downplay what he did. I just don't think it's that unattainable. Let's get to some super chats here. Johnny Mac got 22 minutes left to go on the show. Dio said,
I just explained it.
Man, I think he did send this 8 minutes.
No, you don't get downgraded because you're double teamed. You get respect if you're double teamed and you handle a double team. You get, as I just pointed out, Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah. He said before, do you all know how many double teams Milton received compared to Carter?
Okay.
This was before he
I don't understand it. Nobody's saying Milton's better than Jalen Carter. I'm the guy who said Jalen Carter is the most talented Eagles defender in 50 years. But because Jalen Carter is good, doesn't mean Milton Williams isn't good. The strength of the Eagles defense was they had tremendous defense. It was actually pretty impressive at all 3 levels. But if you boil it down to the strength, the real strength, it was the defensive front. And it wasn't just because of Jalen Carter. He's definitely the most talented, as I said, but it was because of Milton Williams and Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith towards the end of the season. Before that, Brandon Graham was playing at a high level early in the season before he got hurt. It was the number 1 strength of the defense, and you saw that in the Super Bowl. Anybody who watches that Super Bowl and doesn't realize what that front did for the Philadelphia Eagles, I can't help you. Chiefs couldn't block them. Go watch it. You probably watched it 50 times.
That was Milton's highest graded game, but
I'm talking about the group as a whole.
Yeah, no, I know. Sweat, Milton, they all had a great game, no doubt.
Dominated. They couldn't block them. Turned Patrick Mahomes into looked like he was a bad quarterback. How does that happen? It's only one way that happens. Pressure.
Good stuff. JD3 says, don't let this distract you. We have the best tight end 3 in the league. I think ITL means in the league. I don't know about that, JD3. I don't even think he's going to make the damn team.
JD's back up the depression.
And he's got the Ajomo picture on. So I don't know if he's with me or not. BLG and ESP said Ajomo has been beating Dickerson too. Is BLG capping J-Mac?
I don't think he's capping.
I'm surprised you know what capping means.
he lying. They're talking about one-on-ones, and again, one-on-ones. There was a great sort of back and forth. You usually get 2 reps. So the first rep the other day, which I mentioned on the show, Morrow really beat Landon, with his speed, and that's his strength. And then the second one, which I mentioned on the show, Landon was like, all right, fuck this, and got the snatch and pull and just completely pulled him to the ground. So if you hear Vic, forget about me. Listen to Vic. When Vic talks about Morrow, he always brings up he's undersized. And he just is. So one of their big concerns is, can he hold up? Can he play a lot of snaps? And it's not even about the running game, because Milton wasn't that good in run support either. Javon Hargrave, who's a Pro Bowl player here, not that great in run support. When you rush the passer like Javon did when he was here, when you rush the passer like Milton did when he was here, they'll overlook a lot of stuff. And that's what they hope Morrow can become, that type of level of player. But it's probably going to take a little bit of while. And, part of it is he's got to build up to the point that where he can handle the number of reps he's going to have to play. And that, by the way, the secondary part of it is I find it somewhat funny that a lot of the people who want Morrow to have this explosive year also want Jordan Davis to have this explosive year. Well, somebody's got to play and somebody's got to sit.
All right. Well,
And
let me just clarify one thing with you. And I'm not trying to get back into a debate with you, but Milton Williams, #1 graded pass rusher last year in football, or pass rush grade.
interior, not
Interior pass rush grade, 91.7 all through the year. #2 was Chris Jones. #3 was Cam Hayward. #4 was Jalen Carter. #5, John Franklin Myers. And #6 was Morrow Jones.
Morrow. Yes, I know.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. So you don't think that Morrow can cover that gap with a bigger role this year? You don't think he can get that much better to get to where Milton was last year?
No, because part of the problem is he did it in very small sample size.
Definitely smaller than Milton's, no doubt.
Now, it's not even that much smaller. It ended up being about 250 less. But again, this is a part I think people, and I don't know what's going on with my light here, but this is the part I think people like, and this is my concern. Take it off Morrow for a second. This is part of my concern with Nolan Smith as well. Even though I think Nolan's a really good player, I think he's going to be fine. But somewhat of a concern. Like nobody's game planning for these guys last year. Nobody. They're game planning for Carter, Sweat, and Milton.
Right.
Now they're going to be game planning for Carter, Nolan,
Yeah. No, I see what you're
and
saying.
whomever.
So Milton did that while being game planned for versus Ajoma was under the radar and was able to do it.
Yeah, he was a big part of the, and everybody knew again, what type of year was happening. And, they didn't do a good job dealing with the Eagles' defensive front. Now, look, hey, maybe Alex Hunt.
Pretty impressive grade, though, from Morrow last year, right? You agree? I mean, it was pretty good for him.
First of all, I think overall, I think Milton was 13, Jalen was 18, Morrow was 22. I mean, the Eagles' defensive front was so good last year, and so good, and really so good by the end of last year. I just don't think people appreciate it for whatever reason.
I mean, and look, maybe you're right that the odds would say Ajoma won't get there, but
I say that
Trump though, as you've made it sound. Morrow was good last, and again, you're right. There's other variables. Maybe he takes a step back. Maybe people game plan for him more, but. Shit, man. I mean, he had a really good year too. I don't think I'm projecting him to be good off of nothing.
I first of all, I've said pretty consistently if people listen to the show, I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be a good player. I'm actually very high on Morrow Ajomo. I'm very high on Alex Hunt. I think it's unfair where people are pointing to them so early in their careers and comparing them. I mean, the Alex comparisons were just insane. Insane.
I don't know, man. If you told me that Morrow was going to be Jalen Carter, I agree. Or Chris Jones, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Well, that's what you did. But that's not you. I'm saying that's what people did with Alex Hunt. They compared
which I agree
Hunt
with. Is way too much, way too fast and dumb.
With Morrow, it's not to that degree, but it's still unfair. It's not to, best three pass rusher in the game ridiculous, but it's still unfair. I just first of all, I like Morrow personally. I just hate to see people put that pressure on him, number one. But he's got a very high upside. He's a very good player. But if you ask me, and that was can he replicate what Milton Williams did last year, this year? I don't think he can. That doesn't mean he can't become a really good player. It doesn't mean he could become that 2-3 years down the road. But to do it this year and to make that leap, the first time you're playing,
it's tough. I'll concede with you on that it's tough. But I'll ask you to concede it's not as big of a jump as you made it sound. I mean, he was 6.
Well, I don't think. But again, I don't know what you're hearing. But I'm not the one who compared Alex Hunt to Micah Parsons. I'm not the one who compared
I didn't compare Micah.
I'm not saying you did. Jordan Mailata did. I'm not the one who, in your case, compared Moro Jomo to Milton Williams. If you hear me talk, I say, I think this guy's got a big upside with Moro Jomo. I think Jalix Hunt has a big upside of a player if he can reach that upside. What I don't do is put these comps on, and people ask me for comps all the time. I think they're unfair. I think they're ridiculous. I think they hurt the player. But to this centric thing, and I say about, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this fan base in general, because I heard it a lot. I get this shit every day. I'm like, we lost Milton. I'm like, yeah, he's pretty fucking good last year.
Yeah,
but I say the same thing about Slay.
That's why I'm trying to get you to get. All right, it's a jump. I agree, and you're probably right. The odds would say he's not going to be that.
But I don't say anything that I say the same thing about Slay. I say the same thing about CJ. I say the same thing about Josh. They had a special fucking season. They had a special season, and they had a damn special Super Bowl. That's one I will guarantee. I will put the period on it. If they get back to the Super Bowl, the defense will not play in the next Super Bowl like they played in this Super Bowl, because that's almost impossible. I will put a period on that, because however many games there are in the NFL, I should know that number. I never know that number because it's always a fixed number. So 283, whatever it is. They played 280 plus games. No one failed to pass the 50-yard line for, I think it was 8 or 9 consecutive drives. No one until the Super Bowl. And the Eagles defense did that against Andy Reid and fucking Patrick Mahomes. That is special. And that is not going to happen again. They might win the Super Bowl. They're not going to do that.
I agree with. Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Good stuff. 10 minutes left to go on the show today. We'll wrap it up. Recap real quick. Day number 9, Johnny Mac. Still a lot of defense, man. A lot of defense making plays at camp right now. That's kind of always how it goes in the NFL. But just your last couple takeaways here, John. We got 9 minutes left on what happened today for those who missed it, or for anybody who didn't check in, has just heard us arguing about Moro Jomo and Milton Williams for the last 40 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to have to argue about Agbo or Okoronkwo. I'm trying to practice his names, and that's the only reason I'm saying that. But yeah, day 10 tomorrow, 3 days in a row, back to back to back. So this is, kind of laughable when you say it's a grind compared to the way it used to be many, many years ago. But now this is a grind 3 days in a row. So, but they're preparing for a preseason game that is probably going to be more important for the defense than the offense. Let's be honest. And that's the whole training camp, because the defense is the one making all the changes.
Right.
The offense is pretty much stagnant except for Mekhi Becton. It's the same offense.
I don't think any of the offense is going to play, right? You don't think Steen will play, do you? No, right?
Nah, I mean, I wouldn't say 100%, but I don't see the value putting him out there without.
Yeah, especially like you said, with maybe potential turnstiles next to him. I don't think it makes it better for him.
I mean, if they play a series, because again, maybe Jalen Hurts wants to play a series, and if Jalen Hurts wants to play a series, the offensive line will come along. I don't see the value in it, but again, when we talked about Joe Burrow, talked to Tom Brady. Tom Brady wanted to play every year in the preseason. If the quarterback wants to play, everybody will toe the line. But I mean, what is the value of 8 plays?
Very little. Yeah, probably nothing at all at that point. Well, I think you're right. I think it's mostly defense, and will Vic get his way? That's my question. I said, John, last year, I'm not going
to. Vic will get his way because Vic is not, Vic is not listening to anybody but him, It's an interesting dynamic. And,
I
Vic.
think Vic revealed a little bit more about that dynamic this offseason as compared to how we thought about it previously. I thought the comment about Howie picking up Adoree was an interesting one.
Yeah, so did I but to the point, I've kind of explained that to people. Like, Howie makes the decisions on the roster. Like, if it's not like Vic's going to his office and saying, "Hey, sign this guy," or "Let this guy go," or it doesn't work that way. It's all Howie. But when it comes to playing guys, the Eagles give Vic the rope and he'll use it, and he should. And he said, the quote was, which I never got back to, I should have, but I'm spending too much time arguing about a player I like, which is weird. But anyway, you need full speed action to really tell. I mean, out in practice, nobody's getting tackled. You don't know if you've made the tackle or missed it. We're not finishing on the quarterback. We're trying to stay away from them. We need games, meaning preseason games, when you're live and you get the tackle and you get to hit the quarterback. Now, like if that group and Milton and Josh and everybody was back, which is not possible, but in that world, how many guys would play? I think it would be vastly different. I think it's circumstance. I mean, Vic knows when he's got, like, if he still had Slay, he's not worried about fucking Slay. If he still had CJ, might be worried about CJ off the field. He's not worried about him on the field. If he had N'Kobe, not worried about him. He's still trying to evaluate the players at all these positions. If he had Josh, not worried about it. If he had Milton, not worried about it. But, Aziz and Josh, Keely and Adoree, which he said with Adoree, he's a veteran, but he's new here. He don't know shit about it. Jackson. Smile Munden and all those guys, Jahad Campbell getting first team reps. Sydney's got to play to win the job. Tristan's got to play. Andre Sam's got to play. They all have to play.
Should be a fun game on Thursday night. We'll see how it all shakes out. Johnny Mac, good stuff today. Final takeaways from Vic Fangio day number 9 on the practice field. Always fun to hear Vic Fangio speak.
Yeah, I was trying to count up how many times he said eliminate the negative ones too when he was talking about plays with the young players. He said it about 5 different players. Eliminate the negative plays. Said it about Uche, said it about Eli, said it about Tristan McCullum, said it about Cindy Brown. Everybody. That's his whole.
Are you seeing these negative plays that he speaks of, or yeah?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and he's right. So he said it again. He said it the last time we talked to him. He said it again when he was talking about Josh Uche. So he said some nice things about Josh. He said, "I think Josh has had some good practices here of late. He's splashed. He's had some really good plays. Like a lot of guys that are new, he just needs to eliminate the negative plays again. And the negative plays aren't something that you guys may see or know. It's just reacting and covering and the way we want to play the run, the nuances of the defense." So, when you see him run over Kendall Lamb, we all go, hey, that's pretty impressive. But, if he's not setting the edge or he doesn't drop to his landmark, that's the shit Vic's noticing. And nobody's going to.
Right. It doesn't stick out. Exactly. I know what you're saying.
Nobody can know that other than Vic or people that understand the defense call, where you're supposed to be. So he's going to put more value on that. If you're consistently in a poor position, he's going to put more value in that than beating Kendall Lamb per a sack. Right. And I think most people don't get that. But so that's what he was trying to trying to say, and that's what he's trying to figure out with all these young players.
Going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out there, Johnny Mac. John, great show tonight, brother. I think we were due for a little disagreement on
yeah, it's the first time I've disagreed about somebody who I actually like. So Moro, if you're listening, I love Moro Jomo. But yeah, if I'm being honest, yeah, I think Milton was pretty good last year.
Yeah, good stuff. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. We'll catch you in the morning by phone, and then we'll talk to you tomorrow night, 6 to 8, on another nightcap edition of Birds 365. Thank you, brother.
All right, thanks all.
All right, thanks, Johnny Mac. There's Johnny Mac joining us here on Birds 365. Great show tonight, an action-packed show with some energy. We needed a little energy. We needed a little energy on the show. All right? And all you nerds in the chat, you needed it too. You needed it too. Moro with Jomo's coming, baby. J-Mac normally has a way of convincing me on some things. All right? Tonight he didn't. I think Moro with Jomo can be every bit as good as Milton was last year. Maybe the odds would say it's hard to do, but I'm not moved off my position. And I'm sorry, Camel Keese, if you can't believe that. Holy shit. You gotta be kidding me. We were due. I saw Jeff's comment. We were due. We were freaking due. We were due. You know, if we don't get a little of that on Birds 365, I don't know. This show could become a snooze fest. We don't want that. We don't. I just got a tweet from somebody. Did you see that Schwarbaum? Yo, dude. The Schwarbaum. I'm on the show. I'm on the air. Do I look like I'm watching the Schwarbaum? No, I'm not. But good show, man. Great show tonight. All right. Great show tonight. All right. Joe says, here's Joe Whip. J-Mac got a little carried away. I don't think he got carried away. I just feel like he's talking about Moro Jomo, or Milton Williams, like this was some unattainable thing, and I don't really look at it as unattainable. But that's all right. Look, you know, he can have his opinion. That's all good. I don't need him to think like I think. Buy in, Xander. All pro at Jomo. I know. Izzy says, J-Mac put me in a blender. Izzy, I didn't really feel like he put me in a blender tonight. I mean, Moro Jomo is the 6th graded pass rusher. Milton was 1. Milton now went to the Patriots. Moro is still on the Eagles. You really think it's that insane for him to become what Milton was? I don't really think he put me in a blender at all. I mean, he always makes good points. That's one thing I love about John. He always has good, intelligent backing for the reason that he thinks things. Doesn't mean I agree with him all the time, but he does always have good backing. I don't really think that he put me in a blender tonight. And I'll normally admit that. Slager says, well, you have the Z. J-Mac went apeshit about the Eagles being in the Super Bowl and the highest rated D-line and the D-line player in that. Damn, fuck, Slager. I wish I had that, man. That would have been a good. Slager, where were you 20 minutes ago? What the fuck? Where were you, Slager, 20 minutes ago? You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. That's funny, though. That is funny. I thought Ajoma was better with his snaps than Milton. Well, I mean, he had lesser snaps, but A-Team, I don't disagree. Look, there's a reason I'm high on Moro. I think he was, and by the way, 7th round pick, guy was not supposed to be this good, this quick. In other words, he's ascending at a faster rate than Milton ascended as a, 3rd rounder, you start here. 7th rounder, you start here. Milton went like this. Moro has gone like this. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to go above where Milton ended up, but Moro has been on a quicker, the slope of that trajectory. Get somebody, an expert in here who knows that shit. Him and Sills think we underrate Milton, to be fair, but we don't underrate Milton. That's a fake news storyline. Maybe like you could say that about like Slay or one of the other guys. We do not underrate. No, I haven't seen one Eagle fan in anywhere downplay what Milton was. We don't downplay Milton. But do we all think that Milton is not irreplaceable? Yeah, probably. And I don't think we're crazy for that. Jesse, I think Xander Johnny Mac says it doesn't matter what you think. That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. All right. Izzy B says JAKIB Team JM. Izzy B is on Johnny Mac's side. Izzy B is loving up on some McMullen tonight. That's good, Izzy B. I'm happy that you love Mr. McMullen. Nice, Bird Gang girl. Made some empanadas. Nice. All right, I got to run. That was a fun show, though. It was a fun show. It was a fun show. Can we get a chat check for a second? So I know if sometimes I like to know if I got my ass kicked. You know, you get back in the grind. You go back to the classroom. You figure out where you went wrong and you improve. That's life, everybody. All right. You get knocked down, you get back up. So I like to know. There's times where Johnny Mac has, yes, taken me to the woodshed. I didn't feel like he did that tonight. What do you guys think? Outside of Izzy B, whose sugar daddy is evidently J-Mac. Look at Camel Keys. Are you kidding me, Camel Keys? I had to fucking rip you to shreds tonight, Camel Keys. I had to rip you to shreds. Guy tried to come in here, spent too much time, Zig. Yo, dog, when you invest all your money, all your time, all your effort in building the channel, you run it however the fuck you want. Holly says it was a push. I can live with that. Lucius says, you held your own tonight. Thanks, Lucius. Appreciate it. You won, Z. All right. That might be a homer. I don't know if I won, but Z, he made a small point about how double teams are great. It definitely didn't take you to the woodshed. Yeah, but Curtis, here's my problem with that argument. Because he did. You're right. All right. He got me on that. I didn't know that about the grading. But here's the problem, Curtis. How does that bode on the field? I'm not talking about the grading for a second. I'm talking about on the field. Like, leave the grades aside for a second. Milton Williams did this on the field. Can Moro Jomo do this on the field? I don't know. You know, like, I don't think he answered that, but we'll see. We'll see. 11.5 career sacks got him 100 M's. Listen, I'm happy for him, honestly. I like to see players get paid. It's all good. Texas T, Team Xander today. Thanks, T. I appreciate that. You held your own. J-Mac got a bit too Yeah, listen, you know, I think Johnny Mac doesn't like to believe that there's a thought out there that maybe could be better than his. I don't know. No, I love Johnny Mac. I love the way he argues. I love the way he presents his case. I do think he's very intelligent, very knowledgeable about it. So I got a lot of respect for him, obviously. But yeah, after grading is right. I don't really give a fuck either. But you got to speak John's language, you know? You got to speak John's language a little bit. That was good. I thought it was good conversation, though. I thought it was a good conversation. I think Moro Jomo has every bit of a chance to be as good as Milton was. That's what I was trying to say, John. Like, John, normally you move me. Like, I will admit, John moves me. He's good. He's a great arguer, debater. He talks about it all the time. He used to go to debate school or whatever the hell it's called. I never went to debate school. I don't do that shit. All right. I barely went to fucking school that was required, let alone debate school. But he didn't really move me. Like, all right, Milton had a good year. I never said he didn't. I knew that, you know? London Eagle, that's funny. That is funny. Nick says, how do you argue with someone who flips out over his opinion? I don't know. No, I'm used to it at this point. JD says, I won. I was very entertained. There you go. That's a good takeaway. That's a good takeaway. But all right, everybody, fun. Very fun show tonight. Again, I think we needed it. You know, the first hour was a lot of information, but felt a little boring. Felt a little boring to me. Sometimes you got to bring some juice, baby. By the way, I did a segment this morning. I think you'll like it. All right, I think you'll like it. I posted it up. I'm not sure if you guys were all here this morning or not, but I did a segment this morning about Jalen Hurts. We talked about, somebody put it in a super chat about it's amazing how much Jalen Hurts gets hated on. I think it was Eduardo, my boy Eduardo, in the chat. And we had a good 20-minute back and forth, me in the chat about it. It was great. I posted it up on the channel because I thought it would be worth sharing out there. So if you didn't catch that, definitely go check it out tonight. and some other content. I'll post up tonight's debate, as always. You know, I always will. I got a lot of work to do tonight. Oh, let me get to it. Let me make sure. Let me double check where I'm at on my workload tonight. And I already forgot to pull the intro, so I'm gonna have to do that. Let me pull the legendary Moro Ajomo debate. That took up all the second hour that Keese was not happy about. Camel Keese was not happy. I proceeded to shred Camel Keese. Camel Keese, you know I love you. That's kind of my kind of viewer. I don't want people who cry. Like, you know, I love people, you know, come in here and they shit talk me. And I'm like, yeah, it's easy for you to be the fucking nice guy, you know? Oh, I can't believe Xander would talk like that about someone. Yeah, it's easy for you. You're sitting in the fucking chat. I'm in the arena, bitch. I gotta be an asshole sometimes. That's how it works. That's how it works, baby. Keese, you know I love you, Keese. Fucking crying about a Jomo like you gotta say in this process, Keese. You ain't shred shit, bitch. Love you, though. I love you too, brother. I did shred you, though. Sorry, man. I mean, I literally shredded you like a piece of loose leaf. I shredded you like a piece of loose leaf. JAKIB, not for the weak. No, it's not, Pump. I love that. I love that, Pump. I love that, man. I don't want to be spoon-fed bullshit all the time, you know? I like a little bit of debate. I like a little bit of interaction. You know? Let me get, sorry, I'm responding to a text. All right, fun show. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Let me pull this Ajomo clip. All right, that was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. Ajomo eruption. And someone give me a good title for this video. Can someone give me a good title for the video? By the way, anybody who subscribed to ZK's Garage, go check it out. I posted a new video today. I got monetized over there. I'm pumped. All right. Find me someone else who buys a C8 and within 30 days, they get the YouTube channel monetized, baby. It's not easy to get a monetized channel. Some people try this for months, man. Some people try this shit for months, fucking years. 1 month later, the channel is monetized. And I'm pumped about it. So go check it out if you like my car content. If not, that's okay. You don't have to like it. You can just keep watching me here on JAKIB. Or not. I don't really care. Ain't this bad a bitch? You were yapping too long. Keese. All right, Keese. Pipe down. Pipe down over there, dude. You're getting the camel excited. Curtis, I can't do that. John will get pissed, dude. Yeah, Izzy, I was looking at them, actually, the 360. I was looking at them. Well, you put that in the back of the car, it sticks up, and yeah, I got to get one of them. The problem is, yeah, well, I don't really care. I got all DJI stuff right now, and I really like it. I got to be honest. I really like the shit. It's good. But I think DJI might make a I think they make a 360 camera too. So maybe I would get theirs, but I don't know. We'll see. I did see that, Mizzy. You probably have one of those for your bikes, don't you? I'm sure you probably have one for your bike. That would be good content on a bike. Nick says, check out your vet. It's awesome. My pop says 65. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that, Nick. Thank you, bro. All right. Probably the best comeback that Keese could come up with. Oh, Campbell, you're biased to kangaroos. He's right. I wear a kangaroo in my head every day and on my shirt. Looks like we both hump desert animals for a living, my boy. All right, Keese. Keese, truce. Truce, Keese. Truce, dog. That's funny. That's funny. All right, everybody. It's about time I leave. It's about time I leave. It's about that time of the night. I'm out of here, man. I am out of here. Sometimes you get these fun shows, and then you're worked up, and it's like, all right, it's going to take me a second to wind down a little bit. Look at this dude. That's a weird comment, dude. That's a weird comment, dog. The Gooner. What's up, Xander? Let's grab a cupcake. Dude, I'd rather ride that camel that Keith has on in his profile picture. I'd rather ride that goofy-ass camel. Wherever the hell that is, man. Jason says kangaroo. Jason, do I look like the type of dude who has any idea what animal is a desert animal or a forest animal or a rainforest? Do I seriously look like the kind of guy that knows that shit, Jason? I don't know. I definitely am not getting a cupcake with this dude. I'm telling you, man, I'd rather ride on the damn. Keys, you're riding bitch, though. Don't even fucking think about it, my dude. Don't even think about it. I don't ride bitch. Ever. All right? So if I was forced to do that, don't even think about it. All right, I'm getting out of here. I'm done. I'm done with the show tonight. It was fun. It was very fun. I appreciate everybody for listening, by the way. I love all you guys. Appreciate all of you guys. It's always fun doing it. Especially, I like the night shows. I don't know. I'm a night guy, so I told you that. I work late at night. I love working at night, and I appreciate it. So thanks for being here. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. All right, as always. It's a lot of fun. Yo, Camel Keys, take the night off. All right, maybe kick your feet up. Whatever you got to do to relax. You know what they say, Camel? Every day is a new day. You know, you don't have to let today's failures bog down tomorrow's success. So, Keys, get some rest. Maybe take an extra nap. Maybe get like I don't know what your choice of drink is at night. Maybe an ice cold water, a seltzer, a booze, some liquor. I don't know what it is. Get an extra one tonight. Take a breath, and we'll catch you tomorrow. All right, Keys? All right, Keys? Love all you guys. Thanks for being here, everyone. Chris Albright, good to see you, my dude. Keith, you know I love you. I'm just messing with you. Tony became a member on ZK's Garage today. Tony, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. All right, my second member and my first member was my beautiful girl. So she supported first, Tony, and you were number 2. So thank you, Tony. I appreciate that very much. Dio, thanks for being here. Jason A-Team, I love you, brother. Appreciate it. Cody K, thank you, man. Thank you for all your support on both channels. Cody K is always leaving me comments on both channels. All right? I do not know what gooning is, so maybe that's why I'm out on that. I don't know what's going on there. All right? So I appreciate all you guys. Master Eagle, thanks, brother. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES. Eagles.